Almost half a decade ago, we had a storyline between Otis and Mandy. This storyline, in my opinion, was strictly designed for losers. I think this is the point where the company actually realized that their demographic is shifting from normal people to a bunch of losers, man. That's what happened, and that's when this storyline came to be. This storyline is basically about a fat guy who ends up going out with a model, and the audience is rooting for it, right? So the audience is rooting for it, and the model kind of just fucking acts like she doesn't want to go out with him, and the fat guy, he's just acting like, oh, he's very sad, and the audience is sympathizing with him for this. This is the point, in my opinion, when the company was intentionally doing this because they wanted people. Because look, whether you get retarded losers or you get normal people, one ticket's gonna cost the same, right? So this is when I think they made the decision to just transition completely and just get the money from these assholes. That's what happened, man. This story was hands down the most humiliating thing I've ever seen in my life. This was really fucking bad. This was happening around the time of Valentine's Day as well. So this was horrible. This is the fucking storyline that leads to other things of this nature. Like today we see people like Mr. Iguano, Danhausen, things like these. Things that don't make any sense. We had storylines about love triangle and stuff, right? Like we have had so many over the years, and they were all better than this. If you go back to Attitude Era, there were so many. Then even in like the early 2010s, we had CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Lee. Compared to this nonsense, it was way better, man. So this was also love triangle technically, because Dolph Ziggler was also involved, right? And even the other storyline that we had in 2019, I think it was, with Bobby Lashley, Rusev, and what's her name? Lana. People hated that storyline, but for some reason they liked the Otis and Mandy Rose storyline. Explain this to me. Explain to me why one storyline is better than the other. The only reason people enjoyed watching the Otis storyline is because Otis is a fat loser, right? And people wanted to see this fat fuck get his fantasy, basically. Because this is what they were doing, man. Like, they wanted to vicariously live through this asshole. That is all it was. It was unbelievable to me, man. It was unbelievable for me to see that people are collectively rooting for this guy. I don't understand this. He's a grown man. Like, imagine if this was a real guy, right? He's a character, I mean. Imagine if this character was a real person you knew, and he's like fucking acting like he's almost about to cry because some girl didn't like him back. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna feel bad for him? Be real. Of course not. But in wrestling, of course, because the demographic that's actually watching this show now, I don't know how this takeover happened, but for some reason this has happened now, and this takeover has led to an audience which enjoys this type of stuff. They want to see this type of nonsense. Eventually that year, Otis ended up winning the Money in the Bank as well. When he won the Money in the Bank, I knew for a fact, man, that this is gonna be Mr. Kennedy Part 2. He's gonna lose the Money in the Bank contract to somebody else, and it's not gonna be a failed cash-in. It's not gonna be that. It will be just this. He's gonna lose the contract to somebody else. He's not even good enough to have a failed cash-in, man. And that's exactly what happened. He lost it to The Miz because eventually the company had to realize that this is fucking unacceptable, man. Look, man, I was around, alright? And people were cheering for Otis even when he won the Money in the Bank. It does not get any worse than this. People were actually expecting not only for him to win the Money in the Bank, but then also to cash it in and win the world title. At the time, Roman Reigns was just starting his 4-year-long reign. Right? And everybody kind of knew that this reign's gonna last for very long. Nobody knew it's gonna last for 4 years, but like people knew that this is gonna fucking go on for a bit. I have genuinely seen people on the internet actually suggesting that Otis at that time should have cashed in the Money in the Bank on Roman Reigns and just win the title. That's what they said, man. In what world can you possibly think that this is a good idea? Thankfully, the company wasn't stupid enough at the time. And you know what I really think? At the time, McMahon was still around. If this was today, who the fuck even knows? Who the fuck knows what they would have done? Maybe they would have given the title to Otis, man. Thankfully, that did not happen. The storyline was absolute garbage, and the people who enjoy it, in my opinion, should be ashamed of themselves. There was this video in which Mandy Rose was once talking about a guy who just donated like 50 grand to her for some reason. And her husband was sitting there like, and he's like, oh, thank you, man, thank you. And everyone was just making fun of this guy, right? Like whoever the fuck this was. I think it was people like these who actually enjoyed this storyline. I really fucking believe that. Not literally everybody, I'm sure. There are some people who don't think too much, so they see that, well, everybody's cheering for Otis, so let's just do that. I'm sure majority of the crowd was just that, but the people who instigated this shit, I'm pretty sure it was people like these. The people who she's talking about in this podcast. I think the clip might be somewhere on the internet right now.